Very good afternoon, good morning, my dear student. So today we will going to discuss about the different part of your data type and debugging. Okay, so how to do the data type and debugging? Let us start this particular thing. How to do the data type and debugging. Now, in this particular case, what you will going to find that there are the different types of computer programming language. Okay, you have a different pattern of a computer programming language. As you have a different pattern of a computer programming language, those the language what you can find that are supported by the data. Okay, so various patterns of datas are there. So those the various patterns of datas what are there, those the various types of datas what are there, they are operating in a different ways, isn't it? They are operating in a different way, and as they are operating in a different ways, those the operation what we find, what we see that each and every operation of it has got some certain pattern of work. Okay, so there are the different type of expressions are there are the fundamental patterns of there. So each and every fundamental patterns of the data, they are having different type of support of what, support of the data types. So as you are having the data types, those the particular pattern of the data types what we find that it will going to have those expressions, those the fundamental pattern of data types what we find it that Python has got a different type of data types. So data type specification what we see that we have a different specified data values, and those the data value are being stored. There is a type function is used, okay, for this particular data type that what we are using and where we are working on it. So as we are finding that we have a different data types are there. What are the basic data type that we find a Python will going to have? First we have a number, then we have a string, then we have a boolean, then we have a list, then we have a tuple, then we have a set, then we have a dictionary. So all these things what is there, all this part what is there, that are there in this particular structure and in this particular frame. Okay, so in this particular structure and in this particular frame that we find it, those the different data type what is there, those the different type of data pattern that we are having, isn't it? So each of them has got its own specification, that how they will work, how they will going to have their structure, how they will going to make the structure, etc, etc. So all these data type what we find, all these data series what we find, that there are the sectional different type of implementations that we can find the particular data will be, isn't it? Those the different types of implementation that we find, that what the data are and how the data will going to work. So each and every part that we find it, that how the data will going to work and how the data will going to make its output. Clear? So this the particular thing, this the particular data type and data structure what we are having and how we are making them, that will going to have their own different pattern of data types, and we are making those data structures, isn't it? So when we are having the different type of data types, what are the data type we do have? We have a mutable and immutable data type. Mutable data type means a data type that can change its states or content, and immutable that cannot change. Mutable data type means that can change its content, like list, dictionary, set, byte, array, all these things what it has, it this is the data type that can change. Okay, that can be changed its states or content. That means you have seen it, you will see that sometime list has getting sometimes suppose a number of those who has passed, or dictionary you will see it, that there are different type of dictionary we will going to create, isn't it? So those the things what we can find it, that they are a mutable data type we are having, and those the mutable data type what we are having, we are organizing that mutable data type and we are working with that mutable data type. Okay, so this is the data type what we find, this is the data type what we see, that each and every pattern of the mutable data type, and those the particular thing what we see, that is an work that we will going to have different types of immutable data type. Immutable data type like integer, float, complex, string, okay, tuple, frozen, set. So these are the immutable data sets and bytes. That means suppose mutable means, suppose if I write x equals to 10, okay, that is what to check the id of the methods, print id x. What is the id? Id is 20. That means print id of x, in id of the both the statement will be an integer value, and that will be there, isn't it? So this is what you can see, this is what you can find, that you will going to have this particular pattern of the data type, and you are you can able to work on this particular structure of the data type, isn't it? So this is what you can see, this is what you can find, that when you are having those different data type pattern, different part of data type pattern, that those the structures can be created, and you can make those data type, and you can work with the data type. Okay, so as you are working on this particular data type, as you are finding those data types are there, each and every data type what we can find it, that the data type is what, there is a different types of data implementations are there, and we can have the different types of data that will going to work, isn't it? So this is what you can see, this is what you can find, that when you are working on this particular area, when you are making on this particular area, so each of this particular area that you are working with, that you are making with, you are having those particular pattern of data type, and you are working on this particular data type. Clear? So this is how you can find it, that how you can work on this particular area, that which are mutable and which are immutable. So mutable and immutable, when we say in a Python that we store numeric values, isn't it? There are the three numeric data type. What are they? They are integer, they are the floating point number, there is a complex number system. So when we are talking about a number, that means we find there are the different three types of number systems are there, and we are working on this particular number system. Clear? So this is the number system what you can find, that each of this particular number system will going to have a structure, and will going to make the structure in such a way, and in such a part that they are being implemented in this way. Clear? So this is the thing what we can find, this is the part that we can find, that when we are working on it, when we are making that particular structures, these the particular structures that we are having. Okay, these the particular structures that we are finding, that we are going to have, that we find it, that each of these particular structures will be implementing in this way, where we are having a pattern of a data type, where we have a definite certain pattern of a data type, and we are working with this particular pattern of data type. Okay, so as we are working on this particular pattern of data type, and as we are seeing the structures can be done in this way, these the particular structures that we are constructing. You see this program, what you can see in this particular program, you see here that what it is given, that a equals to 10, 100, b equals to what, b equals to minus 100. So c equals to 1 into 20. That means what you can find, that there are the different type of outputs are there, and we are working. So first output print a, when it has been said in print a, what you have seen it, the output is 100. In print b, then what it is said, it is minus 100. Print c, what it has said, that there is 200, isn't it? So there is the thing what you can find it, that this particular thing will going to work, and we can find that how the particular work can be executed. Okay, how you can make this particular executions, and how we can work with this particular executions. Clear? So this is the thing, this is the part that we find, this is the part that we will going to have, and we will going to decide that each of this particular part will going to work on this particular scenario, and we can make this particular scenario in a content that they are been working with this particular structure. Okay, so since they have been working with this particular structures, means we have to see it that what the structures they are working with and how you can implement those integer patterns. So there I have talked about an integer pattern. Okay, so different type of integer pattern of data types are there, and data types what we can find: integer, floating and complex pattern of data types are there. Okay, so this is what the first point that I have discussed here. This is an integer pattern of a data type. Clear? We have this particular integer pattern of the data type. Now you can see that what the data type we will going to have. See here the type conversations of the integer. How you can write it? Int, then function, then conversation of the data type, isn't it? In function, then conversation of the data type, what we see it that in this area, in this particular area, we are having this particular pattern. We are using this particular pattern. So as we are using this particular pattern, in this particular pattern, what you can find it that you have a different type of strings, you have a different type of particular work that we are working with it. Okay, so as we are working with it, we will going to have in this particular string data type as that we have there, isn't it? So there what we can find it that this is the thing, you can see it here, you can find it here that what are the pattern of conversations that we are doing, what are the pattern of work that we are maintaining, isn't it? So that the type, see here what first I have given here, a equals to within double inverted comma 101, that means it is a string. Now b equals to int a, that means this is a convert string data type to an integer, isn't it? That what I am doing, I am converting the string into an integer data type. Next what you can find it, that next you have an integer 122.4. so this is what another particular pattern of the data type, and this the pattern of the data type what we are having, this the pattern of the data type what we are working with it. What we find it that all this particular pattern of the data type is been worked and is been accumulated in this particular area. Okay, so how we will work on it, how we will make the particular thing to be workable. Clear? So this is the thing what you can see, this is the part that you can find, that we have suppose print b. Okay, print C. So this is the run code that we are giving here. As we are giving the run code, what we find that 101, 122. So all these things what you can find that we do have this particular pattern of data type. Now floating point data type, as I have said you, that means it will consist of a decimal point number, positive or negative. It can be a positive data type, it can be a negative data type, real number with a decimal point. Like see here 101.2, 101 minus 101.4. Okay, so 10111.23 2.3 into 3. So these are the things what you can find it, that there you have a different types of floating point of data types, and you are working with all these different floating points of the data type what is there. So those the different floating point of the data type, they are what we can find, that you have the different type of work, and you are working on this particular area. Okay, you are making this particular area, you are working on it. Now type of conversions of the floating point number, what we can find it that floating function is there to convert the data type, like 301.4 is a conversion data type. Okay, so there we will going to have a float a, and next what you will going to have a float suppose 121. Okay, so 121 what we will going to find that each of these particular structures what we are having, each of these particular structures that we are giving here, we can find it that this is what converting string data into a floating point, and this is converting the integer data type into a floating point. Okay, because why string data? Because you see here what I have written, float a. A means what? A is a string. So a in a what is the value I have given within a single inverted comma? 301.4. Okay, so 301.4 means what? It is now treating as a string pattern of data type. Okay, it is now treating as a string pattern of data type. Now this particular string pattern of data type, what we will going to see here, what we will going to find that we will going to have the particular conversion, and we will going to have this particular pattern of the data structures. Okay, so we will going to have those data structures, we will have this particular pattern of conversions that we are doing and that we are making of it. Clear? So there we find it, there we can see it, that there are the different type of conversions that we are using, and we are converting that data into a certain frame or certain pattern that it will going to work on it. Okay, it will going to work on it. So this is what we can find, that how we can make those particular pattern of the data and how we can work on this data. So complex data type, what we can find it, complex data type matter. Complex data type matter means a complex number is a combination of a real and imaginary part. So there is some part which is real and some part which is imaginary, like suppose like x plus yj. So x is a real and y is an imaginary, isn't it? So see here that I have here one complex number 5. So as I have a complex number 5, I want to print it. Okay, so when I want to print that particular one, what we find it, that is complex 101 comma 23 is there. So when we run the b, what you find it, see 5 plus 0j. Okay, next what you can find it, that why this j is that it is showing that it is an imaginary number. When you are running the particular code, you are finding it that there are the imaginary number is working with it. Okay, so this is an imaginary number that is been given, and based on this imaginary, because complex, I am writing here complex. Now you will ask me, sir, why 0j is coming? Because as soon as I write the complex, complex will going to have two part, one is x part, one is y part. So x part value is given here 5, so 5 is printed here. Y part value is not given, so since y part value is not given, therefore what the value of the y has been given here, 0j. And see here in this case what, so 0 is what, 0 becomes an imaginary part. Now since here, see here 101 is there and 23 is there, isn't it? 101 is there and 23 is there. So this is the particular thing what you can see, this is the particular thing that you can find it, that we will going to have the particular structures, and we will going to work on this particular structures. Okay, so this is the particular structures that we are maintaining, and we are maintaining those structures as we are working on this particular area, isn't it, as we are working on this particular part. So this is the thing what we can see, this is the thing what we can find, that we have those particular different pattern of structures, and as we are having those different pattern of structures, we are maintaining them and we are working on it. Okay, so this is what is your particular pattern of work, and different pattern of the number that is there. Okay. So those the thing what you find, those the part that we find, that when we are having this particular pattern of imaginary values, when we are having this particular pattern of imaginary values, we will going to have our expression in this particular way. Okay, we are working our expression in this particular way. So this is the thing what we can find, that how you can work on this particular area. Okay, so this is how you can work on that particular scenario of your number system, and how you can find it. Those are the different type of numbers that we are I have discussed today, and different type of work that we are working it here. Thank you, students. So next class I am going to discuss about some other patterns and other types. Okay, thank you all.